This is part one of a 5-part series where I talk about 27 pieces of life advice with you before I turn 28 next week. Part one is going to be about healing, growth, and becoming yourself. And piece of advice number one is that you are allowed to let yourself become somebody new. In order for you to become the best version of yourself, you are going to have to allow yourself to grow. And what I learned is that I was in a place where I felt like I had to get back to somebody, or I had to get back to who I was. When in reality, what I realized is that your priorities at 21 and at 28 are going to look very different. And it's okay that you honor that. Piece of advice number two is that healing does not mean you never hurt again. Healing gives us the opportunity to do things like notice patterns and respond differently. Healing even gives us a place to hold grace for past versions of ourselves. But our feelings and emotions are our teachers. And so we don't ever want to dismiss them, or it's not healthy to adopt the concept that you're never going to have your feelings hurt, because you are. But as you heal, you find better ways to cope with it, to work through it. And overall, you land up in a better place because of it. Piece of advice number three is going to be that you do not need everybody to understand your journey or your vision. Not everybody is going to be able to understand the vision that God plants in your head, and that's okay because it is for you. Um, this is still something I'm working through in my personal life, and I do not come here an expert, I come here with experience. This brings us to piece of advice number four. The relationship that you build with yourself, or the relationship that you have with yourself, literally sets the foundation to everything. As you build that relationship with yourself, your self-love will grow, your self-respect will grow, and you learn to pour into your own cup first. Because when you do not love yourself and you are not happy with your life, whether you want it to or not, it does bleed into everything you do, how you treat other people, and the choices that you make for yourself. Having a loving relationship with yourself has to be one of my favorite pieces of advice, hands down, because it really does bleed into just about any other piece of advice I can give you. For example, piece of advice number five is that it is going to be consistency over motivation every time. And consistency comes from a place of discipline, and discipline is a form of self-love. And last but not least, piece of advice number six. This one took a while for me to learn. I'm not going to cap on you. This one took a while for me to learn, but you can be proud of who you are, proud of where you're at, and still want more. I had to heal from a place where I was always at an extreme with things. It was either like super hot or super cold. I was here, I was there. But what I learned is that two truths can definitely exist at the same time. And so, because I accepted that, I am now living in one of my answered prayers. But I am very comfortable with the idea that I have new goals that top where I'm currently at. And I absolutely love that for me. I pray for things, but along with those things now, I pray for the wisdom to keep it and to multiply it in the name of balance. Like, balance is probably one of the key things when it comes to piece of advice number six. Without balance, you will always revert back to a place learning the lesson, stuck in the loop. Like, without balance, you stay stuck in the loop, and that's no fun for nobody. We don't want to be stuck in the loop. We want to grow. You know what I'm saying? But that's a wrap. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in part two. Bye.